Welcome. This is the Ag Engineering Podcast, where we talk tools, tips, and techniques to improve the sustainability of your farm. I am your host, Andy Chamberlain from the University of Vermont Extension, and this podcast is supported by Northeast SARE, providing grants and education to advance innovation in sustainable agriculture. We're trying to improve the industry by chatting with farmers and getting their input on tools, tips, or techniques that have changed the way they farm for good. Many of these practices affect multiple areas of the farm. Whether it be environmentally, emotionally, physically, or financially, we share the knowledge to promote sustainable agriculture, lifestyle, and business. Thanks for having a listen. Now, let's get started. Today's episode comes to you from Brookfield, Vermont, where we're interviewing Kyle Doda and Betsy Simpson of 1000 Stone Farm. Kyle has been farming for 6 years, and now he has 3 acres in vegetable production and an acre in high tunnels. They sell to their own farm store, wholesale, CSA, restaurants, and even year-round farmers markets. And they're bringing in between $200,000 and $300,000 in gross sales. Kyle and Betsy, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you, Andy, for having us.
Thanks.
So I just framed the stage a little bit about your farm, but how would you describe yourself in one sentence?
We're a small, certified organic vegetable farm, which also focuses on mushrooms, fruit, and egg production.
Today's episode, we wanted to talk a little bit about your farm store. As I pulled into the driveway today, I saw a sign that said farm store, not just farm stand. So I wanted to hear a little bit more about that.
So it was a topic of discussion whether we call it a farm stand or a farm store. And we decided on farm store because we knew that we wanted to have a lot of variety of products that we didn't necessarily produce. We're carrying all of our vegetables, mushrooms, and eggs. But then on top of that, we're carrying frozen pizza, honey, maple syrup, hot sauce, coffee, flour. Then as far as protein, we have salmon, beef, goat, lamb, chicken, and chicken cuts. Pork, sorry. We also have dairy products, local organic milk and cheeses, yogurt. We have fruit from apples to berries at times, as well as cranberries right now.
We have veggie burgers as well.
We also have veggie burgers, and hopefully soon we'll have tempeh.
That's a lot of products. How big is this farm store?
Butter, we have butter.
It's a pretty small farm store. It's a 12 by 16, and we got it pre-built from a company, Livingston Farm, over in Bristol, and they delivered it within like a month, I think. It was just a shell, but all the exterior is finished with windows and doors. It has a small porch that's 4 feet wide. And then I finished the interior insulated electrical myself. We have 2 freezers plus a fridge and freezer combo for CSA members. And then we have a glass door refrigerated 2-door refrigerator that we have in there as well. So we're open 365 days a year from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m., which for us, we were a little nervous about at first, but after we got into it, we realized that it allowed folks to come and go as they pleased and when it was most convenient for them. I believe that in order to keep the local food movement going, having access to local food made as easy as possible is one of the major contributing factors to having it be successful. We are 4 miles off the highway, so we do get some tourist traffic during the summer, actually. The floating bridge in Brookfield is famous for being one of the only floating bridges that's a state highway on the East Coast, I believe. It's also been rebuilt like 10 times.
10 times.
I don't know.
It's been rebuilt a few times.
We get a lot of folks that are coming home from work that want to stop and grab something for dinner, or are grilling out the next day, or are grilling out that day and they need something right away. The closest grocery store would be probably about, at a minimum, 10 miles, maybe more like 15 miles away.
At least 15 minutes, if not more.
Yeah. So that does benefit us. A major part of the whole farm store that made it sustainable for us was having it be self-serve. Otherwise, we would not be able to do it if we had to pay someone to be there.
An employee to stand there all day to take $5 at a time here or there. So how are you doing it self-serve? Do you just got a drop box and make your own change sort of deal, or explain that a bit?
So I realized that I wanted to be able to take credit cards because I knew that I wasn't able to provide change for everyone. So what we did was we took a refurbished iPad and put it into a wall-mounted bracket that allows us to use a POS system, which is, we chose Square for accepting credit cards. It also allows our customers to check out with cash or check, as well as gift card. So we can also then sell gift cards for folks to use at the farm store. It's been pretty amazing to see people learn how to use the program, which at first was a little tricky, I think, for some folks, and just getting used to it, as it would for anyone. But now that a lot of our regulars are used to it, we're seeing that people absolutely love it. It also allows us to keep inventory. So especially for products that we're purchasing in, we can enter in the inventory that we purchased, then we can see how many we've sold. We also get a record of all our sales. So through Square, we can see what trends we're having, or what we've sold the most of, what are our top sellers, what are not selling at all, is it worth keeping the product in store? So that's been really great.
Does it tally up the inventory and tell you how much you have remaining, or do you just do that subtraction?
It does do that as well. It'll tell you how much you have remaining. It'll tell you the different prices you may have sold things at if you had something on sale, or et cetera. I mean, even Brookfield is, I think, 1,200 people, maybe. And we're averaging somewhere between $75 and $100 every day. Some days are really low and some days are high. It just really varies. However, it's given us two things. One, cash flow for the farm. Two, it's giving back to the community, which we really appreciate and have seen a lot of positive feedback from them. It also allows us to have access to a whole slew of products that now our CSA can purchase. So now our CSA members can add on coffee, honey, salmon, pork, whatever they want, which we never would have been able to access before. Because if you think about it, if we have like a 50-member CSA on average. So if I were to call up any of these other farms and say, hey, I want to add on these things, if I only have like 5 or 10 people that are adding it on, it's not necessarily worth it for them entirely to do that. But if I'm buying $300 worth of meat from them at one time, and then I just pack the shares, it is worth it.
So you're holding that inventory rather than the person you're buying it from, which makes it worth their time.
Correct.
The person you're buying it from. Now, the people who want to pay with cash, do they go through the iPad as well and just click pay with cash, or do they just ignore the technology and just drop the money in the slot?
I think it depends on the person, but technically they are supposed to put it through the iPad. That way that we can see the inventory, like we know what's coming and going, and I can be anywhere and be like, oh, I'm low on lettuce. Like, I can just look at my phone and know what we've sold that day. Now,
obviously, it's, you're not going to get all upset because Granny just dropped cash in the counter, but does it really mess up your inventory? Like, is that a big problem? Does it skew your numbers for day totals and stuff like that? Or can you just implement a cash sale and like enter that in at the end of the day to balance it out? Or how do you manage that?
I mean, we can always put in the system. It doesn't happen enough anymore, like that it's making a really big difference at all. And especially now that we have like our regulars that are coming all the time, like they know exactly what to do. And it definitely took a moment for people
Absolutely.
to get the hang of it.
We also try to keep a pen and paper out there to allow people to either jot down stuff if they can't seem to figure out what worked for them, leave us a note, let us know that something went wrong or whatever. We also have our cell phone there, numbers, so they can either call or text us if they have an issue.
So this little farm store is kind of self-serve, self-explanatory. The customer just kind of walks in and can pretty easily identify what they want to pick up or purchase. Do you have your prices listed on everything, or is there a sheet on the wall, or explain?
Yeah, we've went back and forth on that a little bit. Obviously, all the prices are in Square, but we some items are labeled, especially the per pound items, with pricing, and then other items there's just a list on the wall in multiple locations in the store where they can see what's going on and what it will cost them. For the most part, I think that folks are really happy with the pricing. I mean, I wouldn't say that the products we're bringing in are on the low end of food quality. So there is a noticeable price for local food, as there should be.
You decided to basically buy in a building. It was a pre-built kit, right? So it
Correct.
did come off the truck, and then you insulated it, and you've got a heater in there, and it's open year-round, 8 to 8. That's incredible. You've got an AC unit in the window in the summertime. It's January now. We walked in there today, and it was very comfortable, which was nice. Kind of surprising, off the beaten path down this little Vermont town. You just walk into this kind of little cabin, and it's full of local farm products. It's awesome. If you'd like to see a view of inside this farm store, I shot a little video clip and have some pictures posted in the show notes, so visit our website, agengpodcast.com, if you want to check out what their farm stand looks like. Now, you made some of these decisions to insulate it and stuff like that because you knew you were going to have it open year-round. There's a significant investment to that. What made you decide to do that?
Yeah, so when we started this concept and decided we're going to go for it and have a farm store, I figured why not just go for it all the way? Because if we were only going to be open seasonally, then what do I do with all of the frozen meat the rest of the year? It just sits there all winter? No, that doesn't work because I'm still paying an electric bill to have it frozen. I still have to keep it viable to sell. And then when I go to sell it in the spring, now it's just old. It didn't seem to logically make any sense. And so really the only time we're putting into it every day is the open and close, which is probably under 3 minutes, morning and night, if that.
Yeah, if that. Like, obviously, we're restocking things when we need to, but there's not very much time we're personally putting into the farm store.
Almost all of the back stock for all of everyone else's products is in the farm store. And for us, when we're restocking our products and harvesting, it's just coinciding with the other wholesale and market harvest that we already have to do. So it's not that much more time. Like, you're harvesting 5 more bags of spinach. Out of 60, that's not really that big of a deal.
So you made the decision you wanted to have a farm store year round. That way you're not sitting on inventory, especially because you've got other farm stuff. That way it's consistent messaging and marketing to your clientele, so they always know you're open 8 to 8 every day, all year round. Like, that's just consistent. They don't have to think about it, which is awesome. This was a significant investment to put up this farm store. How much did you put into this project?
Roughly speaking, the building itself for the prefab was $9,000. Then we insulated it for probably around $1,000, and drywall, etc., electrical. I think all told, with the gravel excavation, everything came out to around $15,000. The freezers were not too expensive, about $600 each, as well as the fridge. We purchased the glass cooler used, and then kind of cleaned it up and repainted everything and added some shelves. So I think all told, we're probably into somewhere around $17,000. However, that being said, our gross sales so far have been around $15,000 since July 15th. So we have seen enough sales to justify being open year round, as well as to justify our investment, which we're not going to get it back, obviously, the first year. That's insane. But we're going to get it back probably in 5-6 years. And also, there's a lot of other things that we can do to increase that rate in which we're receiving it, like selling starts in the spring, off the farm store, things like that.
So I'd say that's pretty good numbers just for only being open like 6 months.
Absolutely.
Are you happy with that?
Yeah, we are. We were really surprised with the support that we got from our community. I mean, I think that there is an increase in the interest and desire to eat better and eat more local food, and to have a sustainable agricultural system, and especially in Vermont, which we are very privileged to have.
I think people are curious too. Like, you wouldn't know, like, everyone knew that there was a farm here, but all we did for the farm store out the road was put up a sandwich board that said farm store open 8 to 8. Like, that's all it says. It doesn't, like, that
we didn't
board
put up
doesn't
the sign that's there now,
which still doesn't say much.
It says the same thing.
It's the same thing. It's the same
It's
thing.
just higher up.
It's just higher up. It has Christmas
because I knew
lights.
winter was coming, and if we just had a sandwich board, the plow trucks would destroy it. We will soon. We're working on an illuminated sign that has an etched logo in it, as well as plaques that are more colorful and kind of your standard farm store plaques that say eggs, fish, meat, whatever, milk, vegetables, etc. So we're getting there.
Okay, I've got a question that I know the audience is going to want to know more about. Farms don't have $17,000 sitting around to just set up a farm store of their own. Did you know there was a market for selling vegetables off literally a beaten path? I mean, you're 4 miles down a dirt road off the interstate.
How'd you to drive a quarter mile to the farm store?
Right, your driveway is
Up
pretty
our
long
driveway.
too. So, how'd you know that this was going to be a good investment and that you wanted to invest that much money up front as opposed to just starting out with like a pop-up tent and a picnic table to test the water?
That's a great question. We didn't know for sure. It was definitely a gamble. I knew that we wanted to move our CSA pickup out of the barn because we just don't have the space for it. We originally were doing it outside during the summer and then inside during the winter, and it just was not working as well as we wanted it to. So I knew that we would have anywhere between 10 and 20 people that would be coming for CSA pickup once a week. And out of those people, talking with them and even the community, everyone was interested in a farm store. I did not think that it would go this far this quickly by any means. And we didn't start off with all these products in there. You know, we gradually added more and more products. We didn't have 2 freezers to start with. We added one. But it was kind of one of those things where you're like, oh, shoot, we should really embrace this and see where this this path takes us. And I think we're obviously just in the beginning of it. However, I think that using something like the iPad and Square for self-checkout is financially the only way that we would have been able to really accomplish this. With averaging $90 to $100 a day, we're never going to, we wouldn't even cover our costs for labor to be open 12 hours a day.
Right. And that's huge. I mean, that you just opened up an opportunity for, small amounts of money to come in that you otherwise couldn't do by locking up an iPad and having self-serve checkout. That's really novel. I haven't seen that on too many farms doing that. Are you worried about theft of the iPad or anything in the building at all? Or not really?
Not really. I think we're fairly trusting people, but I think there's a lot of respect of even just us opening up the farm store. Like, people around here are so grateful that it's there, and there's a lot of, there's respect, but there's also, gratitude from the people that are living here because they're just grateful that they can drive a mile and there's dairy, there's eggs, there's vegetables, there's meat that they can like have for dinner. Like people show up like first thing Sunday mornings to get some pancake mix, some eggs and milk, or some yogurt for their kids. Like it's amazing.
That's
Right
awesome.
at 8 a.m.
Yeah, they're like there when like we're opening it, and I'm like, you like look out the window while you're eating breakfast, and you're like, someone's already here. But they love it.
Yeah, it's definitely a two-way street. I mean, obviously it doesn't exist without them, and we're really grateful for them as well and the support that we've seen. We've done some advertising via social media and
Paid advertising or just posts?
We have done some. We did one paid advertising about the farm store just to really get it out there, and the responses were great. It was, where is this place? How do I find it? What's the address? And that sort of thing. We've also done Front Porch Forum as well.
There's been a lot of like just people talking though around here.
Word
like,
of mouth.
Yeah, a lot of word of mouth of like just people telling their friends of being like, oh, have you gone there yet? Especially when we first opened up, everyone was like, it's like the little talk of the town behind their backs kind
Hey,
of
that's
thing.
cool.
But
I think too, like a major factor in doing something like this is that I just didn't want to cut corners. It's very easy in farming to cut corners on every level because it's always tight on finances or different things. But, the minute you start doing that, you're losing something, whether it's your own sanity or money down the road or whatever it may be. And another aspect of cutting corners is like having products that we love and know who's making them, because the quality is that good that then people are like, oh my gosh, this was amazing. Like, we're going to come back here and get this every single week. Like, it's that good. So that's really important. And I think when folks, if anybody looks into doing this themselves at their farm, or if they're starting a new farm and that they want to put this into their business model, location is definitely important. I think we lucked out. But also making sure that you could access certain things. Because one major thing, I think, when you're selling any product, whether it's at farmer's market or through the farm store, the more variety you have, the more opportunity you have to make a sale. So when you have 30, 40 different products in there, if somebody buys 5 things, that's better than them just going in and like, all we have is meat.
That's true, yeah. They may be coming for their dozen eggs, but because they're there for the eggs, they're also going to get, a chunk of meat for dinner or something too, or vegetable for the side. And
right. They may have just came in for eggs, and now they're walking out with $20 or $30 worth of food and produce.
Or they wouldn't necessarily want to drive 5 miles across town to get one thing of eggs, but because you've got 4 or 5 different things that they may be interested in, and now it's worth their time to come out.
Right. The next thing we're trying to figure out is bread. Haven't got that one figured out yet, though.
Not a local bakery around here, or you don't want to put it in an oven?
We've considered doing it ourselves, and we're contemplating that over the next couple months, having one day as bread day. We've also possibly might reach out to some other people. I just think that the volume in which we would need is just not enough for a larger bakery to want to deliver. I think one thing that's important for folks to understand is there is a significant investment in the building, as well as the amount of monetary value that's held up in the products that you're selling if you're purchasing from other folks. So having either, we went through Vermont Farm Fund and got a loan through them to be able to do some of this. So some sort of capital investment is going to be necessary in order to make it successful. And I think if you could build it over years and years, or you could just bite the bullet and go for it. But there is a significant amount of money, especially with frozen meat and fish. It's expensive. So because you need to buy enough to actually have enough to stock. So when you have a couple $1,000s worth of meat and fish around, things like that add up. Because there is there's a place where a business is able to financially carry that burden.
Right. But you need something to get started.
Totally. So,
if you're bootstrapping it, like, imagine how many years it would have taken you to save up $10,000 just for the building alone, let alone inventory before you could do this. Like,
absolutely.
A lot more than the 3 years it's going to take to 3 or 5 years to pay back. Yeah.
Right. I mean, and it is a gamble whether or not you would get enough revenue to pay back a specific amount of loan, but you can also run those numbers. So if it's, 3% interest, which is the Vermont Farm Fund loan, then you would know that on, $30,000, let's say, it's $650 a month. Well, if you're only using, let's say half of that, so now it's like $325 a month. Can you pay $325 a month every month? If your farm store doesn't make $325 a month, don't have a farm store.
That's another reason to have it open all year round.
Well, absolutely.
The bills keep coming all year round.
The bills keep coming, yeah. But that was basically our major decision. It was like a no-brainer. We're like, okay, so we still have an electric bill all year round, and we still have this loan payment. So we'll just keep it open all year round.
Let's keep the income coming too.
And that was the 8 to 8 thing too, because we were like, well, it's dark out during the winter. Like, it's probably gonna be slower. Like, maybe we should just close it when it gets dark. But then we're like, well, people are still working basically the same hours. Like, they're still getting done work at like 4 or 5. And it was like, we're still heating it. Like, everything's still in refrigerators. Everything's still running. Like, why should we change the time? Like, we'll just keep it 8 to 8.
It's not any harder for you to open or close it at 5 than it is 8. So
yeah.
Absolutely not. And I mean, honestly, if we ever wanted to, I'm sure they make timed door opening and locking systems, as well as like our signs. So then if we wanted to have a sign that says open 8 to 8, then seasonally we're changing that. That's a whole nother thing. And
that's true.
I think just the simplification aspect is huge for the customers and for the farmers. Like, don't make it more complicated than it needs to be, and make it as easy for the customers to access the product as possible on their terms.
So why do you close it overnight and not just leave the light on?
We don't need people here at midnight.
Fair enough.
Like,
Yeah.
This is your house.
There is a certain point where that's a little uncomfortable, I suppose.
So I just wanted to highlight a couple things that you mentioned that about this investment, and that it was a big chunk of money, but you didn't just jump into it because you thought it was a good idea. You asked your CSA customers, and they all thought it was a good idea. And it also was a multi-use building, so now it's a CSA pickup location. So it wasn't just a farm stand. You had other uses for it. Do you wish you made it bigger yet?
Yeah, we do kind of wish that it was a little larger. I think it is a nice size, though, honestly, especially for heating and cooling as well. But I do feel like we could use a little more wiggle room in there. For the most part, there's really only one person ever shopping at once or two, so it doesn't really seem to be that big of a deal at the moment, but it's only been the first 6 months.
It has only been 6 months, but is there anything else that you wish you had done a little differently? Are you pretty happy with everything you've put into it so far?
Yeah, that's a good question.
we need more wall decorations. We need more stuff about like us in our farm, because like if you don't know our farm really, like there's not really that information there, or like more information about the other farms and our friends that we're buying from, like their products. Because that's the important part for us, that like you do know where your food's coming from and like how they're treating their animals, or like how their growing practices like relate to like what you want.
Absolutely. Yeah, we definitely, on a personal level, try to buy all of our food from our friends and other local producers. One thing that we would like to do is to get a map of the state and where the products are coming from, especially for folks that are from out of town or maybe are just not as familiar, to understand, all of the different farms that are in the state.
And that they're really not that far away from this little store. You've got really hyper-locally sourced
Correct.
stuff.
Yeah, absolutely.
And yeah, just trying to share that like this is high-quality local stuff. It's not your everyday frozen pizza.
Correct.
Yeah.
So one thing that I mentioned earlier was that having the farm store and having our business have access to these products also allows our CSA members to have access to the products. So we have CSA members that pick up at the farm, but we also have some in Burlington and in Montpelier. And so the folks even in Burlington and Montpelier now have access on a weekly basis to make additional orders from the farm store. So if they want some ground beef, or they want maple syrup, or they want yogurt or milk or pizza or whatever it is, they can add it to their order just via email, and then we send them an invoice through Square, and they prepay for it, and then they get delivered their products. We also, in addition to that, allow them to sign up for a monthly pantry share as well as a protein share. So they can make their own mix and match protein share, or they can do a pantry share, which will have ferments in it from local fermented like kimchi and sauerkraut, flour, honey, maple syrup, things like of that nature.
That's cool. A lot of flexibility, a lot of options.
Correct. Yeah, and it's also additional sales that the farm store is technically making,
right,
that adds to the whole bigger picture.
And it's not an inconvenience for you to add ground beef because you had it here ready to go.
Right. So if you were our CSA member and you're like, oh man, I'm grilling out this weekend, and you email me and you're like, Kyle, can you add 1 pound packages of ground beef to my delivery, to my pickup in Burlington? No problem, Andy. And I just put it in your bag with everything else.
I like it.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, we've gotten great feedback from it. People are a big fan. And they can also, our customer, especially our CSA members, they already know us really well. They trust our judgment. They understand where the products are coming from. We tell them you can find all of it out on our website and see what's going on.
Is there anything else you'd like to share about your self-serve farm store?
People like to shop alone. They like the simplicity of it, and it gives them time. They're not pressured at the grocery store or waiting in line. They like to be in there by themselves and just be able to like pick and choose what they want and not feel like they're being watched over, like a cashier being like, you ready yet?
That's a really good point.
I think that is another thing too, is it is a very low stress environment. Like when you get done with your day at work and you're driving home, the last thing you want to do is go into a huge box store with really bright lights and lots of people. Or you can just go into a tiny little farm store by yourself, relax, grab what you want, and go home.
Yeah, and that's whether it be a big box store or a little store with nobody else in there but the cashier kind of awkwardly waiting for you to finish up. Yeah, that's a benefit of being self-service.
Absolutely. And I mean, I think it technically could be bigger if we wanted to, but the sales to justify having somebody in there would be huge. I think also for larger farm stores or farm stands that do, $2,000 in a weekend or whatever, even a day during the summer months, during the winter they shut down because their sales don't justify it. However, they could section off a part of their farm store that was smaller, do what we're doing, continue sales with other products, and still keep their clientele throughout the winter.
That would be a big win, certainly.
Absolutely.
That's a great viewpoint. Well, thanks for sharing about your farm store and how the farm store makes it a sustainable enterprise on your farm. If people want to learn more about you and your farm, how can they follow along and get a hold of you?
They can check us out on Instagram or Facebook, Thousand Stone Farm, and they can also check out our website at thousandstonefarm.com and email me or Betsy at Kyle or Betsy at thousandstonefarm.com.
So, Kyle and Betsy, thanks for coming on the show.
Thank you for having us, Andy.
Thanks.
Thank you for listening to today's episode. I hope you go ahead and subscribe, share this with a friend, or leave us a comment. And if you want more information, check out the show notes on our website at agengpodcast.com. That's agengpodcast.com. Thanks for listening. I hope you have a great day.
The proceeding has been a production of University of Vermont Extension. For more information on Extension, log on to www.uvm.edu/extension.